Hi, everyone. As you are coming in, welcome to the Caregiver Action Network's webinar on caregivers and PTSD, understanding the impact and finding support together. I'm just going to give it a few more moments here to allow anyone who's showing up a bit just right on time to get settled in as we get started here. We'll probably start around 12:02. But in the meantime, I appreciate your patience and thank you again for being here with us today. Hi there, Baxter. Really appreciate you joining us today. Gordon, nice to hear from you. I am going to ask everyone here in a bit, once we get to some of the introductions, to take some time to put your name and where you're from in chat. So we'll get to that here in just a second. Alrighty, so it is 12:02, so we are going to get started. So, hello everyone. Again, welcome and thank you for attending the Caregivers and PTSD, Understanding the Impact and Finding Support Together. So before we get started, I figured that we just should introduce ourselves. I'm Dakota Heath. I'm the John Shaw Policy and Programs Fellow here at Caregiver Action Network, and I'm joined by my colleague, Nicole Goebel. Nicole?
Hi, everyone. So glad that you could join us for what I think will be a really amazing webinar that ties together some really great practical resources for caregivers, but also really emphasizes the importance and I think also the access to the really vital peer networks and communities. So really glad to have you all here.
Absolutely, absolutely. And again, if you could please just throw your name and where you're from into the chat, just so we can get to understand or get to know y'all a bit better while we're here together. So, what we'll cover today, we're going to be diving into the understanding PTSD and its impacts, the importance of peer-to-peer support, a demo of Kindly Human, which is one of the peer-to-peer support networks that we're partnered with, and a small Q&A at the end if anyone has any quick questions that we may be able to answer or direct you to an area where they may be able to answer a bit better. So before we get started, I did want to say that I have a statement here from Katie Russo. Katie Russo is the vice president of the Anxiety and Depression Association of America. They have a lot of close ties with dealing with PTSD, and Katie Russo herself actually has a personal connection with caring for someone with PTSD. So she said, caring for someone living with post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, is an act of profound commitment and compassion. Yet the dedication it requires often comes with a unique set of challenges that can be isolating for the caregiver. As someone with lived experience in this, I think it's worth noting that PTSD for many people is a disorder of avoidance. For many individuals, engaging with diagnosis or treatment means confronting and intensely triggering deeply personal and often traumatic memories. This avoidance isn't a choice. It's a powerful, often subconscious protective mechanism against overwhelming emotional pain. This is why caregivers might find themselves supporting someone for other conditions such as OCD or depression, while PTSD may be an underlying undiagnosed or unaddressed factor influencing their loved one's daily life. For those caring for an individual with a recognized PTSD diagnosis, you likely live with a heightened awareness of its daily impact. You may even witness the ripple effect of the trauma firsthand. This experience can, quite understandably, become exhausting, frustrating, and at times personally traumatizing, depressing, or anxiety inducing for you. These feelings are absolutely valid and a testament to the significant emotional labor involved in the role of being a caregiver, especially with one with PTSD. This emotional toll is precisely why the value of community peer-to-peer connections in particular is indispensable. In places in these like-minded spaces, you don't need to explain or feel like you are betraying the person you care for because you shared understanding of the community. Because your shared understanding of the community eliminates the need for lengthy justifications. Connecting with a community of fellow caregivers, individuals who genuinely get it, to share experiences, insights, and lessons learned can be an immense source of comfort and practical support. It's about finding your own network, a place where you can truly unburden yourself and draw strength. Finding the right peer support group, like any meaningful connection, may take some time. If an initial group doesn't feel like an immediate fit, don't dismay. Just as effective treatment for PTSD often involves a period of trial, adjustment, and patience before progress is seen, similar findings, similarly, finding the right peer network and settling into its dynamics can require perseverance. When you're feeling most tired and frustrated, reaching out might seem like the furthest thing from your mind. However, taking that step to connect with others on a similar path truly can make a significant difference in your well-being and resilience. You're not alone, and you do not need to navigate the rough or smooth seas all on your own. Reach out and keep going. Katie Russo, Vice President of the ADAA. I felt like that statement in its entirety just added so much flavor and flair to this entire thing, especially given where she's coming from as an individual and her lived experiences, and how I'm sure many of you feel that same experience that she's gone through, and you may be currently going through yourself. But with that being said, I did want to dive into understanding PTSD and its impacts. Uh, Baxter, yes, sometimes there is a stigma. Absolutely, absolutely. Um, but so first of all, well, many of you probably already know this. What is PTSD? Post-traumatic stress disorder, or PTSD, is a mental health condition triggered by experiencing or witnessing a traumatic event, leading to symptoms like flashbacks, severe anxiety, and uncontrollable thoughts. And we have some symptoms here. This is not a comprehensive list of symptoms, but we figured to throw some symptoms in here just to give a general idea, such as spontaneous or reoccurring, involuntary, and intrusive distressing memories of the traumatic event, reoccurring distressing dreams in which the content or affect of the dream is related to the events, and psychological reactions, whether internal or external, to reminders of the traumatic events are all symptoms of PTSD. And with the impact of PTSD on caregivers alone, we see that 56% of PTSD caregivers don't use organized caregiving groups. And that's kind of particularly due to 81% claim they were unaware these resources existed. 2 in 10 find that they have to quit their job in order to take care of their loved ones, making it much difficult for them to take care of their loved ones without further support. And 70% of PTSD caregivers report high emotional stress. Uh, and these statistics kind of just shed some light on what y'all are going through as a whole. It's not just a individual issue. It's something that we need to tackle together, in my opinion. And I feel like this shows that we're not alone in this, and together we truly can make each other feel better and help each other out. So, what can you do with this knowledge and this information about PTSD, being a caregiver, and what can you do as a caregiver to make your life and your caree's experience a bit better? So, speak and listen to other caregivers. Experience is the best teacher, and I feel like a lot of people miss that opportunity to speak with someone who is quote unquote been in the trenches a bit longer than some of us, or even maybe just have knowledge that isn't available to us at that time for whatever reason. Just being able to speak up and speak with your peers is super vital. Talking with your loved one's doctor. Caring for a loved one with PTSD may involve accompanying them to the doctor. This is your opportunity to ask questions and advocate for your loved one. You are there with your loved one for your loved one. So whenever you're talking with your doctor, it is best to declare that you're there as a caregiver. Let that be known. There are steps you can take prior to going to the doctor to make sure you have all the necessary documentation needed and you're fully prepared to make the best decisions for you and your loved one while you're there. Get the family involved. If available, call on family members to assist with care to alleviate some of that burden. And understandably, we know that not everyone has that option. But if you do, offer to take shifts to eliminate the chance of burnout, as caregiver burnout is one of the biggest things that we try to push on to people, that it is something that you desperately need to take care of, because if you can't take care of yourself and you yourself aren't feeling well, then it is incredibly hard to take care of your loved one. And finally, another thing you can do is join a support group or a peer-to-peer network. Speaking with others sharing in the same journey can be invaluable for your mental health. You can learn coping skills and find support through communities. You can potentially make long-term connections with individuals that you may have never even thought of speaking with before, but you have that connection with them through caregiving. And I feel like that in of itself is extremely powerful. So we are now going to jump into the importance of peer-to-peer support, and I'm going to throw it over to my colleague Nicole for this part here.
Thanks, Dakota. So I'm going to be talking about peer-to-peer support. We've talked about it quite a bit already, but now we're really going to dig into what we actually mean by that and what are some resources out there right now that you can use to get connected to that peer-to-peer community. So before we get to that, I do have a question, a poll question that I want you all to answer. And it is, do you currently have a peer outlet? Do you currently have a peer-to-peer community? Some of the things that we've just touched on very lightly, like support groups, etc. Do you currently have that structure? And if you do, how helpful has it been for you? Those two questions I think are really important because it's about seeing, A, who is having some difficulty connecting to some of those peer networks. And then also, are they helpful? Just kind of getting a lay of the land there. So just take a moment and put in your responses.
Starting to see some of the responses coming in now. We'll just give it a few more seconds here just so everyone can get their answers in. Caregiver support group twice a month. That's wonderful to hear. All righty. Oh, looks like they're coming in a bit quicker now, actually. Alrighty, I think we're gonna cut it off here for the poll. So these are completely anonymous, but it's seeming like a bit more than half of you do have a peer-to-peer peer outlet, which is wonderful to hear. Um, and we see that over half of you are saying that it is very helpful for you in your caregiving journey, which is wonderful. That is absolutely perfect. And for the 44% of y'all who don't currently have a peer network, we are hoping to change that today for you.
Great. Yeah, and I'm also very happy to see that so many folks are finding it helpful to a pretty high degree. That's what we like to see. All right. So, why is peer-to-peer support so important? Again, we've touched a little bit on some of these aspects, but let's really peel back some of the layers. So, caregiving for anyone can feel lonely and isolating, especially when you're dealing with mental health conditions that can often come with stigma. And I know that Beverly in the chat had also referenced, folks of certain backgrounds and different communities as well can face, some additional barriers that can make it difficult to connect to some peer-to-peer communities. And so that all boils down to feeling alone. But having that peer to peer community is so essential in making sure that you feel you're not alone in your journey of caregiving. Everyone's journey is unique, but there are people out there that have a unique understanding of what you're going. And so that is so vital. And whenever we talk to folks about utilizing things like support groups and other things like that, that's one of the first things that they say is that, they felt really alone in their caregiving until they were able to have a space where they knew that they weren't alone and people could relate. It reduces stress and burnout. So, what that means is, the isolation, feeling like you have the world on your shoulders as a caregiver and that no one necessarily understands what you're going through. Plus, juggling all the day to day logistics and pieces of caregiving on top of everything else that we juggle as well outside of a caregiving, stressful. And that can lead to burnout. When stress and stressors get to a point that we're not able to necessarily pull out resources and tools from our tool belt to manage those things, that can lead to burnout, which is that point where we just kind of throw down our arms, right? Say, I can't do this anymore. I'm at the end of my rope. I don't know what to do. And that's a really bad place to be. And so having that peer-to-peer community lessens that stress. Just knowing that you're not alone, knowing that you have a place where you can go and share and learn, which I'll get to in a second, helps alleviate some of that stress. Practical tips and advice. You know, there are lots of different ways that we like to learn, right? Some people are visual learners, where some people are hands-on and want the experience. But there's one thing that I think across any type of learning method is that we really like when we're learning from someone that's been there, that's done it, that has that experience. And isn't that what a peer-to-peer community is? Is being able to share tips and resources amongst the group to say, hey, I did this and this really worked. Or, hey, I checked out this organization and they have some really great tools. I would definitely check them out. It's so valuable. And we know it's coming with its own form of vetting, people who have utilized it in the moment of caregiving. And that's really great. So it's great for being able to both speak on and listen to those experiences and kind of, build on your caregiving tool belt. Emotional strength and encouragement. We never give ourselves enough credit as caregivers. I think we always are saying, what aren't we doing right? What more can we be doing? If we take a moment for ourselves, we always talk about the importance of self-care, but that can come with a lot of guilt and feeling like, I can't do that because I'm abandoning my loved one or I'm not doing what I need to do as a caregiver. Having that peer-to-peer community validates those feelings and reinforces the idea, no, you are doing your best. You are showing up and you are there supporting your loved one. So give yourself that credit and also give yourself the space and the grace to have that self-care. As the saying goes, you can't pour from an empty cup. You got to make sure your cup is full. So it sustains your caregiver role. This goes right into that burnout place, right? Where you're at kind of your peak. You can't do anymore. Being able to avoid getting to that point, that keeps you going. When you have a space that's validating you and that's fulfilling in a way, that makes that marathon of caregiving. Because haven't we all heard the phrase caregiving is a marathon and not a sprint? So helps us keep that pace, helps us keep going, knowing that we have a network, we have a support system around us, and we can do this. And builds lifelong connections. All throughout life, we have different places where we build on relationships, right? We have school friends that stay with us for our entire lives, childhood friends that stay with us. And it's the same thing within caregiving. When we go to those support groups, when we're engaging on forums, message boards, and those virtual spaces, we're forming those connections. Those connections are strong. And so I have yet to meet a caregiver who hasn't said, yeah, I have a real great group of friends that I've met here and that keep me going and are my cheerleaders and people I can call to vent and they'll have an understanding. So it really does build on lifelong connections. So let's talk about the power of what these peer-to-peer networks or communities can do. And I'm going to call out some specific ones here. So as I said, caregiving is isolating. We lose ourselves sometimes in that caregiving role, don't we? And so it's so valuable to have places to turn, those peer-to-peer communities to turn that kind of fuel those other pieces of us. And so I want to call out some of the resources that you can plug into today that will help build upon your peer-to-peer network. The first is Kindly Human. And you're going to get a picture of Kindly Human just coming up here in a few minutes here. So what it is that it is a 24/7 support network, and it offers you real-time, no judgment, we listen, we don't judge, free conversations with trained listeners. And these are listeners that are peers. They are caregivers. So they come with that understanding. And to emphasize the trained bit, look, we all can be a shoulder to lean on. But when we have folks that have a little bit of training to them, right, they're able to help us navigate some of those really sticky situations and scenarios. And that's always a great resource, right? It's like having that friend that can also, have these other connections that are so beneficial. We love those friends, don't we? And so that's what Kindly Human can do. The Caregiver Action Network's help desk is kind of what it sounds like. It's a support line. And I, in bold, support line for caregivers, and it will connect you one-on-one. Again, we like those one-on-one connections too. I don't know about you all, but I've been in support groups where I feel a little bit nervous. Talking in front of a group can be a little nerve-wracking. which is very ironic for me to be saying right now. I am very well aware, but it can be nerve-wracking. And so we like those one-on-one connections, right? And so that's what the help desk is. You get connected one-on-one to what we call a care advocate. So again, think of that peer, because many of those care advocates have that caregiving experience, and they also have a wealth of resources that they can utilize to point you in the direction of services and supports for you and your loved one. And so it's a really great resource. And we'll talk a little bit more about the help desk as we wrap up today. And then one of I really love this resource. It's our Caregiver Action Network community Facebook page. If you belong to the Facebook group, you've probably seen me. I'm always around, buzzing around the group. It's a really amazing Facebook group of, I think now we're just about the 2,500 caregivers. And I tell you, it is a dynamic and awesome group. Folks are sharing their caregiving experiences, asking questions, and it's a private group. So, you don't have to feel like, everything is just kind of hanging out there. You can also post anonymously, which is really nice. We've had some folks post anonymously, so no one knows it's you, but you can ask a question, share something that maybe you're you're a little hesitant to, but know that you're in a safe space to do so. So the Caregiver Action Network community Facebook page, I absolutely love it. We also have bi-weekly what we call real talks. And it's just where we all come together and just for a handful of minutes talk about a caregiving topic or a resource to, get some more things on our caregiving tool belts. So I know that one of the things that Dakota hit on towards the beginning was, you know, the statistics around caregivers knowing about peer-to-peer community resources out there. So I like numbers, so I'm going to throw a couple of numbers at you because I think that these are really important ones. So COVID-19, one thing that we can all say about COVID-19 is that it really changed caregiving for almost everyone. The way that we provide care to our loved ones, what that looks like, so many things have changed in the last few years. And so one of the, metrics that we've been able to take is that 31%, so, a fair bit under half, use support groups or online forums. And 36% of those folks said that these resources would be the most helpful in their caregiving roles. So again, less than half of the folks that we're getting some of this information from are utilizing those support groups and online forums as a peer-to-peer community. And but they were saying it would be so helpful. We just don't know where they are. And I think that one of the things that is kind of a side note to that is that we know that now virtual and online peer-to-peer communities have really expanded so much as a result of the pandemic too. So now there's a lot more resources out there for folks to tap into. Another, I think, really interesting number is that 83% of caregivers saw value in online peer support, but barriers like time and digital skills, right? Because, we now have to learn a new platform so that we can join the support group. I don't know how to download this app on my phone. There can be some barriers that come with the tech piece of it. And so, that was kind of an access barrier too. Like these things exist, but a lot of caregivers were like, oh, I don't know how to access it. It's great. I appreciate that it's there and I'd love to use it, I don't know how. So those are just some of the, I think, again, getting at ways that, our access and reaching out for these peer-to-peer supports has kind of changed in the last few years and what some of those initial barriers were. Now, I want to talk just a bit as we prepare ourselves to get a little bit of a demo that Dakota is going to take us through of Kindly Human. I want to give a lay of the land here, what Kindly Human is all about. So, as I mentioned, in just kind of giving a quick overview, it's about connecting one-on-one with a person. And that's something too. I didn't say this when I was going through the resources, but I I do want to emphasize it now. Now, when we reach out and we are engaging in some of these things, it can feel like we're in a never-ending cycle of bots, right? We're not connecting with real people. We're connecting with AI or whatever the case may be. This is real people, all right? And so you are able to tap into a community, thousands large, that share unique experiences, and you can set up a call with them and just chat. Have that one-on-one time. Ask some questions. Participate in some of that learning and sharing. Um, you've got natural listeners. So again, going to that trained piece, um, you know, we all can refine our listening skills, right? Um, so these are folks that have been trained and vetted to make sure that they have some of those tools and those skills to really listen. Because when we reach out sometimes, we may not know what we're looking for. We may just be in a real rough space and not be able to put a name on it. We may be really struggling. And so these are folks that have done some of that additional training so that they can really be there as a strong support. It's safe and secure. Whenever we go online, and especially when we're sharing information about ourselves and maybe information about a loved one to any degree, we want to make sure it's safe. We want to make sure that our information isn't getting out there and utilized in ways that we don't want it to be. And so this is a safe and secure platform. And guess what? As a benefit of being here today, you can all get that access to Kindly Human, and it's not going to cost you a penny. So there you go. And now I think, Dakota, you're going to take us through a demo so you can see what Kindly Human is all about and, start utilizing access.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Nicole, for taking us through all of that. So, like she said, you all are 100% guaranteed a account through this. I will get into some of that here in a second about the trainings, Mary, here in just one sec, once we get this sharing going. So, once you log into Kindly Human, this is what you'll be greeted with. This is the home page in which you'll be able to search for support, learn more about your plan, different resources they have available on the page, some of the top searches that are going around as of recently on the website. You have your connections right here. So if you had connected with someone that you felt Mary, yes, there will be a recording at the end of this. But if you have some connections that you felt really just you felt connected with and you would like to speak with them again at some later point, you can. They will remain in this section here so that you can speak with them again and have them listen to what you're going through. So firstly, what I'm going to do is show you just what happens if you were to use one of the top searches. Let's just say you're feeling overwhelmed with your caregiving journey right now and you need to vent. So You would type something similar to that into the search bar right at the top. And not only will it give you resources based off of your prompt, such as for stress and burnout, emotional health, things like that, but it also gives you peers. These peers not only have stories that you can listen to so you can feel a bit more connected with them, but they also have multiple different stories a lot of the time. So they're not just dealing with burnout, they're dealing with aging, relocation, faith, which brings me to another point about Kindly Human. Kindly Human does a really good job at being able to partner individuals with people just like them. So as you see here, uh, Cecilia, she's a caregiver, empty nester, foster parent, single parent, self-employed female, she slash her, English, Christian, white, partnered or married, and with children. So what that tells me is all of these things, while they might not necessarily have any relation to me as a younger, unmarried, no children male, that I could look for someone within Kindly Human's platform that does speak to me, that does have that connection that allows us to feel closer together. So now, what do you do after you find the person? Let's just say hypothetically that you found an individual that you really, really enjoyed their stories and you really enjoyed their connection that you felt with them. You can schedule a call with them. What that essentially means is you can have a one-on-one chat with this person in which you can essentially have them be your listener and you can have them listen to your story and just essentially vent while they listen to you and take it all in. And a lot of the times that by itself is just incredibly helpful, just being able to get that out all out with a peer. Um, and Tasha, so there is a way for those to become a listener for Kindly Human. Uh, that is something that you have to go through a bit of training for. There's more information available on their website on that. But it is something that you can get trained for, go through a process, and be added in as a listener. And I believe that there is a compensation for it on top of all of that. Um, and with that being said, um, there is also resources here on the front page and within the searches, as I showed you, of Kindly Human. So if you're just saying you need to search up caregiving, um, we will see that down here, Caregiver Action Network popped up, caregiving information, and then it works to find those individuals that it believes will be best suited to connect with you. So that's what it's doing for me right here. Um, there we go. So you have many different people who have their stories about caregiving on here, a few different listeners, and I did notice that a few people in the chat were describing um, that they are a caregiver themselves with PTSD. Now, I didn't want you to feel like we were glossing over that. Um, this still works for that. If you feel like you need that peer-to-peer connection with an individual, even as a caregiver with PTSD, you can still find a peer on here. There are people who talk about their diagnosis with PTSD. There are people who are willing to listen to you about your caregiving and and your PTSD that was a result of your caregiving. Those are all here, and they're all willing to listen whenever they are available. And so as you saw there, I'm able to search just PTSD, caregiver, really anything that you might think you might need help with. Um, Kindly Human does a wonderful job at just putting you in the place that you need to be in front of the people that you need to be in front of. But take a little more look at the resources here, there's resources ranging from mental health to finances, to disability, to caregiving, abuse, things like that. There are countless and countless of different peer-to-peer networks and resources within Kindly Human. So we are super happy to have y'all being able to jump on it. And we hope that it is something that you find super, super helpful as we do. And not only just on top of that, but let's just say hypothetically you wanted to just find a listener now. They do have an available now section, a section completely available with people who are willing to listen to you right now. And you can see right here that all of them have their different little tags. So you can see, does this person connect with me? Does this person not connect with me? And if they do or don't, you can schedule a call or connect now. That's how quick and connected this entire thing is. And that's what we love about it so much. Um, but those were the main things that I wanted to cover around Kindly Human. Like I said, there is a section in which that you can uh, train to become a listener, as some of you have asked in chat. Um, that is information available on their website, and I feel as if anyone who is willing, absolutely, please participate, and as that will only bolster the amount of peers that individuals can have and to speak with. So, with that being said, we are going to swap back over now to the next, or to a Q&A about the webinar as a whole. But before we do that, I wanted to throw up another poll question for you. Just really simple question. After today's session, how likely are you to engage in peer-to-peer support? I feel as if that myself, I'm a caregiver for my partner, and she has gastroparesis. And while I'm young, I understand that being a caregiver still takes up a lot of responsibility and a lot of time. And I have found it very challenging to be there not just for her but also for myself emotionally, and I've struggled with a lot of emotional imbalances due to just needing to take care of her. But I will say that the peer-to-peer networks I have participated in and joined have been immensely helpful, and I feel as if they have really shown that people care. People out there care, and they're willing to talk to you and connect with you on what really matters. But with that being said, it seems like the answers to the poll questions are slowing down here. So I will end it there, show the results, and it's looking like almost 70% of you are saying that more likely than before, which is wonderful to hear. We would love everyone, if necessary, to have that peer-to-peer connection, because we just think it is extremely, extremely vital. And I saw some people raising their hands. So what I'm going to say is, if you do have a question, since we're going to be moving into the Q&A now, if you do have a question, please put it in the Q&A section, um, so that we can easily see it. There's just a lot of things going on in chat right now, so we appreciate any questions being placed into the Q&A. I did see some questions popping in the chat whenever I was are there any reviews from people who have used this platform? I will say, uh, after looking through the chat, there are many, many of people who have been talking about how wonderful Kindly Human has been for them, um, and how it is just an amazing platform that they feel like has been super beneficial to them. Uh, but I'm sure that there are countless of testimonials online from others about its use cases. Is Kindly Human accessible through the CAN website? Yes, it is. The uh, website, if I can get it here for you, we have a section on our website that has a link that leads directly to it. And we have been placing it in the chat, but I feel as if I can drop it for you real quick. No problem. And here is the link for that. I will drop that in the chat. And the next question I'm seeing here is Kindly Human free? Yes, it is. Absolutely to y'all. It is free. With this uh, webinar that we're doing today, we are giving y'all free access through us to Kindly Human. So there is no cost necessary from you at all. It is 100% cost free. I would love to connect with you to include the simming leadership. Uh, Lisa, we can connect after this. I can send you some further information about Kindly Human and its platform. Uh, but yeah, if you there should have been an email that came through. If you just email the contact email that says in that one, then we can get connected. But yes, this platform is available now, Beverly. Um, I will paste the link in the chat once again, and you can just click that link. And if you do, it'll bring you to the CAN website, and has a little bit of an explanation there. And from there, you should be able to log in and create your own, or log in and move on from there. Um, can others join one of these in the future and also receive free access? We may be holding future webinars based around Kindly Human. And in that case, if we do, then that may be a benefit to those webinars. Will Kindly Human work in the UK? I know some apps don't work over there. That is an interesting question, actually. That is the first time I've heard that question, and I'm not entirely sure. I want to say yes. I have no reason to think that it wouldn't, but I can always reach out to our contacts at Kindly Human just to get a better answer on you for you on that. And how can I request this presentation for my caregiver support group? Can I schedule? So we will actually be posting this presentation on our website as with the entire recording, as well as some of the links included, as well as I said, we may be potentially holding future events similar to this one for y'all, just so you can bring people you feel like would benefit from this, the information, things like that. So thank you for that. Really appreciate all of the questions. They were wonderful. So next, if I can get back to this page, yes. So for some last things, we have our help desk here. Wherever your caregiving needs we're here with the support you deserve. The Caregiver Help Desk is a free, completely cost-free live support option. It is not bots. We will say that one more time. It is not bots. These are complete, actual humans that you're connecting to, and they will help you through your caregiving struggles. They are professionals in that way. They also can help you connect with local support in your area.
Yeah, and I would just add that in addition to reaching out by phone, you can also reach out there's a little chat feature on our website because I know there are times that I definitely don't want to talk on the phone. I'm just not feeling up to it. But I have a question. And so there's that access point too, which is really, really, really awesome. One thing I do want to point out is that this isn't a 24/7 line. It's hours of operation on Monday through Friday. I believe it's 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. Eastern. And um, that said, you can reach out anytime. So if you call that number and it's outside of those hours, you can leave a voicemail. Your chat message will be kind of sent on as like an email message of sorts so that they can get back to you and respond. And the team there is incredible. They get back to you very, very quickly within a business day or two. Truly, truly an outstanding group of folks, and we work very closely hand in hand with them so that if there are questions that come in specifically for us here at CAN, we can help that as well. So just an amazing team. But I did want to put that out there that you may not be able to talk to someone live at 3 a.m. when you finally have a second to sit down and it's 3 a.m. in the morning and you're like, oh, I want to ask this question. You can still get on there, either type it out or leave that voicemail and someone will get back to you.
Sorry about this. I'm just sending a message in the Q&A. Someone asked a question about becoming a listener and sharing their story. I'm going to be posting a bit more information about the peer networks from Kindly Human in the chat, just so y'all can have that in case you are interested. There's that for everyone. And on top of not Kindly Human, sorry, on top of Help Desk, we also have our PTSD dedicated page on our website. From keeping track of its progression to treatment options and management tips, we're here to support you throughout your journey. This is taking care of someone who may have PTSD, but there are tips and tricks in there about self-care, just reducing caregiver burnout, things such as that. Then we have some of the other resources that we have available. We've already touched on the Caregiver Help Desk, Kindly Human, the Caregiver Action Network community. We also have our info at mailbox that allows you to reach out to us directly through email. It is staffed by me and Nicole. We will get back to you as soon as we can. There's a lot of stuff that comes in there, but we will get back to you, I promise. And for the ADAA and the NAMI resources, I wanted to include those because ADAA, we wanted to throw in their main page on PTSD. I felt as if their expertise in the area really shed some light on everything and just really gave it a bit more flavor. And then for NAMI, the link is to a recorded roundtable speaking with individuals with PTSD. And it talks about the exposure to traumatic events and how they can have long-lasting mental health impacts on individuals and their family. The panel covered shared lived experiences, how to reduce stigma, and the challenges and challenging myths around PTSD. I think that it was a fantastic roundtable, and I definitely recommend anyone interested to give it a watch. Finally, we would love to stay connected. We have our Facebook group, our LinkedIn, our Instagram, our Twitter. Our website is listed there. We have our phone number there as well as our info at. I'm going to leave that up there for just an extra second, just in case anyone would like to screenshot or take a picture, even go to any of those pages right now. But
And I believe that these links will also be included in a follow-up email that you'll receive. So you don't have to feel like, oh no, I missed one. It will be in an email. You
absolutely.
guys have asked some really fantastic questions. So if there's anything that pops up, I know that oftentimes, like an hour later, sometimes a day later, whatever the case may be, I'll be like, oh, I have a question about this. You can always feel free to reach out to us.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And Erica, for the slides being available to the participants, the webinar will be made available online. Not entirely sure about the slides, but the webinar will be made available. I can talk with my team a bit more on that. But again, we would like to say thank you all so much for being with us here today. We really appreciate it. It's been a wonderful being able to speak with you all and show y'all all of the amazing peer-to-peer networks that we have at our disposal. And we're hoping that you may find them useful yourself. But hope you all have a fantastic rest of your day and um, maybe talk to you soon.
Yeah. Bye, everyone. Thank you so much for being here.
Bye bye.